You know that feeling when someone walks into a room and just takes over, like they're the center of the universe and everyone else is just orbiting them? That's exactly what happened the moment Rachel Zegler showed up to rehearsals for Evita. Chamo wasn't subtle. It wasn't quiet. It was loud, dramatic, and bursting with "I'm the moment" energy. At first, the crew tried to roll with it. Maybe she was just passionate. Maybe she was trying to bring some spark to the role. But eventually, it stopped feeling like ambition and started feeling like a hostage situation. From the outside, it looked like a dream. Rachel had landed a legendary role, Eva Peron herself. The kind of role that defines careers, wins Tonys, and inspires generations. For someone trying to break free from the Disney princess mold and social media snark, this was her golden ticket. C's. Press ate it up. Theater blogs called it inspired casting. People were genuinely rooting for her. This was her redemption arc, her chance to prove she wasn't just hype, but behind the curtain, it was chaos from the jump. The whispers started small, showing up late to rehearsals, brushing off suggestions from vocal coaches, randomly switching choreography mid-performance like she was reinventing the entire show on the fly. At first, people gave her the benefit of the doubt. Big stars have big personalities, right? But it didn't stop there. Rachel apparently decided Evita needed a full-blown revolution, not just tweaks. That's what Rachel reportedly wanted. She didn't just want to play Evita, she wanted to reshape the entire vibe. Less musical theater, more personal manifesto. Sources say she openly challenged the director during blocking sessions, allegedly saying things like, "You don't understand evil like I do," or "This scene needs to reflect feminine rage." And sure, it's great when actors bring bold ideas to a role. But when every rehearsal turns into a battlefield, people start noticing. Soon enough, the rest of the cast was walking on eggshells. You couldn't correct her, you couldn't disagree with her, you couldn't even breathe the wrong way without getting hit with a passive-aggressive glare. Or worse, a public call-out. According to someone working behind the scenes, even seasoned cast members with decades of experience were getting side-eyed for daring to offer feedback. And that's not even the worst of it. Stagehands were reportedly swapping shifts just to avoid her. Rehearsal slots were in constant flux. Wardrobe staff had to remake her costume 5 times because, according to Rachel, it didn't honor the feminist power arc of Eva. One assistant choreographer allegedly called her the most exhausting person they'd ever worked with. Ever. Then came the now infamous New Argentina breakdown. The cast was deep into a full staging of the number when Rachel reportedly stopped mid-song, flung her hands in the air, and shouted, "I'm not doing this circus anymore," before storming off stage. The room went dead silent. And that's when someone finally said out loud what everyone else had been thinking: "She's got to go." That was the tipping point. From that moment on, things shifted fast. A group of cast members began documenting everything, not just mental notes, but written records, dates, quotes, tantrums. Some even filmed snippets from rehearsals, just in case things escalated. Spoiler alert, they did. And look, this wasn't just petty backstage drama. These were seasoned performers, people who'd seen it all, who knew the difference between diva behavior and full-on sabotage. When they approached the producers, it wasn't with gossip, it was with receipts. A formal complaint, allegedly, signed by nearly half the cast, laid everything bare. One line reportedly read, "Rehearsals have become unsafe, unproductive, and entirely centered around one person's emotional instability." Even that didn't trigger an immediate response. So the cast took it a step further. According to multiple insiders, a small group, representing ensemble members, supporting roles, even a vocal coach, marched into a private meeting with the show's producers and made their position clear. This wasn't a suggestion. It was an ultimatum. "We're not going back on stage with her." Producers were stunned. One reportedly asked, "You're asking us to fire the lead?" The cast replied, "No, we're telling you we won't continue unless you do." It won't work if you don't. That's not mutiny. That's a wake-up call. And just like that, the power shifted. Rachel was nowhere to be seen for days. Rehearsals carried on without her. Scenes were reassigned. Stand-ins filled the gaps. And quietly, almost imperceptibly, the production team began doing what no one thought they'd dare: rebuilding the show around her absence. It was quiet, deliberate. No announcements, no drama, just silence. And in theater, that kind of silence says it all. Rachel's name disappeared from the call sheet before anyone even said a word. No statement, no explanation, just gone. Her dressing room was reportedly cleared out overnight. The vibe backstage? Lighter, sharper, focused. One cast member said it felt like the air had finally been let back into the room. No more tension. No more eggshells. Just people finally doing their jobs without the fear of being screamed at mid-run-through. The producers, of course, tried to keep a lid on everything. But behind closed doors, it was full-blown crisis. Control. That's what the producers were trying to regain. They reached out to Rachel's PR team, her agency. Someone even floated the idea of mediation. One suggestion, a co-lead format, splitting the role of Eva between Rachel and an understudy. That idea was laughed out of the room. The cast wasn't budging. There was no compromise to be made. It wasn't about ego anymore. It was about survival. Rehearsals didn't slow down. If anything, they kicked into high gear. And leading the charge, a name nobody had paid attention to. Until now. A quietly competent understudy who had been watching, listening, learning in the shadows. She knew every line, every cue, every step. According to the crew, she didn't just step into the role. She became Eva overnight. No demands, no breakdowns, just pure, grounded performance. People were stunned. Some said she was better than Rachel ever was. And just like that, the momentum shifted. They rallied around the new lead like they were building something worth protecting. Morale skyrocketed. People who used to show up drained began staying late. The choreography finally clicked, harmonies locked in. It wasn't just a new performer, it was a new energy, and the whole production felt it. But the outside world hadn't caught up yet. Rachel's fans were still under the impression that she was the face of Evita. Her Instagram, once filled with dramatic rehearsal selfies and cryptic captions about artistic growth, suddenly went dark. No stories, no likes, no live updates, just digital silence. Then the theater gossip account started buzzing. One TikTok video with over 2 million views claimed Rachel had been benched after a full-blown cast revolt. The comment section was vicious. "She finally learned you can't gaslight an ensemble," one user wrote. Another said, "I'd pay triple to see literally anyone else." Hashtags started trending, Zegler out, or justice for Evita, or free the cast. Twitter, or X, turned into a battlefield. Some loyal fans rushed to her defense, claiming the cast was jealous, intimidated, or threatened by her brilliance. But the overwhelming response was relief. People weren't surprised. They'd seen the signs before. Clips resurfaced from old interviews where Rachel shaded other actresses, interrupted co-stars mid-promo, corrected journalists in condescending tones, or dropped passive-aggressive one-liners about carrying projects on her back. One particularly viral clip showed her wearing a plastic crown in a behind-the-scenes video, saying, "They'll hate me for this too." The replies were ruthless. "We already do." "Congrats on manifesting your downfall." Even her fans, even the fan accounts, the same ones that once called her the future of theater, began to pull back. Some stopped posting altogether, while others subtly shifted their focus, redirecting praise toward the unnamed understudy. Memes flooded in, comparing the new lead to Rachel. Talent without tantrums, Eva without the attitude, and finally, a revolution that works. Meanwhile, the official Evita account grew suspiciously quiet. There were no new photos of Rachel. No tags, no press clips. Just vague rehearsal shots, group photos without context, and a generic graphic announcing a new creative direction. Fans pieced it together faster than the producers expected. Rachel wasn't taking a break. She wasn't reworking her character. She was out. Backstage, no one said her name anymore. It was like she had been edited out of the narrative. A ghost haunting a show that had already moved on without her. And while her team scrambled to figure out a PR strategy, the production had already moved on. Previews were happening, with or without her. The curtain was going up, and the new lead, she was winning people over fast. Industry insiders called her a revelation. Controlled, powerful, magnetic. One director who caught an early run reportedly said, "This is what Eva Peron was meant to feel like." Word started leaking to critics, and the early buzz was glowing. Backstage, the mood was united, grateful, like a bad chapter had finally closed, and the real show was beginning at last. Meanwhile, Rachel remained silent. No interviews, no paparazzi shots, no red carpet appearances. She had vanished. And in this industry, that kind of disappearance doesn't scream resting. It screams damage control, burnout, or worse, blacklist. Everyone knew what the silence meant. The official program changed quietly. No announcement, no fanfare, just one less name in the spotlight and a new one printed in bold. It was the final confirmation. Rachel Zegler was no longer playing Eva Peron. For the cast, it was the reset they desperately needed. For the production team, it was damage control finally taking effect. And for Rachel, it was the harshest reality check of Rachel's career so far. Theater doesn't offer second chances the way Hollywood does. In film, a public apology and a new stylist can rebrand a career in 6 months. But in theater, it's about presence, respect, rhythm. You either fit the ensemble or you break it. Rachel didn't just break it, she shattered it. Then acted like the shards were art. Her critics had warned about this moment for years. The red carpet sound bites, the chaotic interviews, the passive-aggressive tweets wrapped in faux empowerment slogans. It worked for a while. Being young, loud, and self-aware was a brand, but theater demands more than a brand. It asks for humility, collaboration, discipline. The cast wasn't asking her to be quiet, they were asking her to be part of the team. And she couldn't, or wouldn't, deliver. People close to the production say she's still trying to salvage the fallout behind the scenes. Her team has reportedly pitched creative burnout as the official reason for her exit. Others suggest she voluntarily stepped back for personal growth. But no one's buying it. Not when entire scenes had to be rewritten. Not when staff refused to work her hours. Not when half the cast signed a document to have her removed. Insiders say the new lead is being protected. No name, no spotlight, at least not yet. Just blurry rehearsal footage whispered about in theater circles. Apparently she's electric, charismatic, grounded, razor sharp with the lines. The crew calls the new lead a leader without the ego. Some even say she saved the show. While producers scrambled to redirect the press, critics were quietly being invited to the first preview. If she delivers what insiders claim she can, it won't just be a comeback for Evita, it'll be the debut of a new star. Meanwhile, Rachel's fans are split. A handful still cry conspiracy, insisting she was pushed out for being too visionary, too strong. But most have gone quiet, tired of defending chaos. The tide has shifted. Even the fan edits have slowed to a trickle. The sparkle's worn off, and what remains isn't a misunderstood genius. It's someone who treated a legacy production like a personal pet project and expected the industry to applaud. The silence now speaks louder than any press release. No one from the production has defended her. No former co-stars have come forward to praise her work ethic. No fellow actors have tweeted support. The PR machine has gone still. And in this business, that's never an oversight. It's intentional. Rumors say she's already lining up a new project. Something small. A streaming series maybe, or an indie film. But it's unclear whether any studio will take the risk. The Evita fallout isn't just a minor blip. It's a cautionary tale. Her name, once associated with fresh talent and fierce presence, now her name rings with tension. Directors don't want headlines, they want harmony, and Rachel has proven she can't guarantee that. What makes this burn even deeper is how close she came to something remarkable. She had the part, the stage, the audience waiting to be won. And she blew it. Not because she lacked talent, but because she let ego replace effort. She had a chance to lead, to inspire, to grow into something great. Instead, she stormed off stage mid-song, shouted down her critics, and expected loyalty to follow. But theater doesn't work that way. You don't get applause for volume. You earn it with consistency, timing, generosity. Rachel had the tools. She just never learned how to use them without setting the room on fire. Now the show is moving forward, without her. The cast feels reborn. The director reportedly called this new version of Evita the most collaborative production of my career. Even the crew, who once dreaded their shifts, are arriving early, staying late, and laughing backstage. The production has found its rhythm. And the one person missing from that harmony? Rachel. She once tweeted, "This role will change me." It did, just not the way she hoped. Maybe she was right. It didn't make her stronger, it made her vanish. In a world where reputation travels faster than talent, Rachel Zegler became the headline no one wanted to click. And no matter what her team does next, that shadow will, follow. Because when the curtain rose without her, and the show didn't fall apart, it sent a message louder than any spotlight ever could.